You take your daughter, Amelia, and leave. I already have a baby with Cain in my belly. You and Amelia are getting in the way." At the words my sister told me, I let out a sigh and answered firmly, "I'm willing to give her a divorce, but I can't keep my daughter, Amelia." My younger sister's expression twisted at my words. "What? You're her mother, aren't you?" Apparently, my sister doesn't know anything. I decided to tell her the truth that she doesn't know. My name is Heather. I'm 35 years old and teach a piano class. I live with my husband, Cain, and our 14-year-old daughter, Amelia. Cain's mother is the talented president of a major company. She was so famous that she was even covered by the media. I remember how nervous I was when I met her before we got married. I thought a busy career woman would be scary, but when I met her, she was a kind and smiling person. I respect her deeply. She once said to me, "My son has many shortcomings, but please take good care of him." Cain is also struggling as an employee at her company. My daughter, Amelia, is an honest and cheerful girl, and I get along very well with her. It makes me happy to hear Amelia say, "We are like sisters." I'm so proud of you. On our days off, we would go shopping together and lived happily every day until I got back together with my sister. That year, it was unusual for the whole family to have a day off during summer. Amelia's club activities were canceled due to the extreme heat, so Cain and I were able to take summer vacation. Taking advantage of the holiday, we decided to return to my parents' home in the countryside. I thought about going back to my in-laws' house, but my mother-in-law was too busy to take time off. When I returned to my hometown, my parents warmly welcomed me. However, I noticed something strange. "Whose shoes are these?" Among the shoes left at the entrance were ones clearly intended for young people. As I tilted my head, puzzled over the sandals, which were probably not my mother's, I heard a voice from the back room. "Hey, sis. It's been a while. Are you surprised?" My sister, Laurel, turned and looked at me. "Laurel, what have you been up to? I was so worried about you." My sister Laurel, who is 7 years younger than me, had not contacted our family for many years. This is because Laurel was a rebellious child and had a big fight with our parents in high school. She ran away from home, and we hadn't heard from her since. Apparently, she had occasional contact with our mother, and we were only able to confirm that she was alive. But it seemed she had changed her mind and returned home, like us, during the holidays. "Well, don't worry," Laurel said, nodding. When we got to the house, Laurel told me about her life so far. During her high school years, she ran away from home, fed up with our stubborn parents, and moved in with a friend in the city. There, she found an opening for a part-time job at a cafe, and she's been working there ever since. "I've already moved out of my friend's house," she said. "I've become an adult, so I came back for this vacation thinking I should at least see the faces of our parents." "Wait, so you're married? And you have a child? It's Cain and Amelia, right?" "Nice to meet you," Laurel said, lowering her head. Cain and Amelia nodded quickly in response. I felt a bit lonely that Laurel hadn't contacted me all these years, but I figured that as long as she was doing well, that was enough. Cain leaned over and said, "Well, I've heard the name of the cafe where you work. It's probably down an alley near the crossroads in front of the station, right?" Laurel tilted her head, then nodded. "Oh yes, that's right. It's the cafe with the cream-colored signboard." Cain's expression suddenly brightened. As expected, the nearest station to my company is also there, and my coworkers told me they were interested in that cafe. Laurel smiled at Cain's words. "Wow, great. Please come visit our store next time. Many single men visit our store as well." I felt a little uncomfortable with Cain's reaction, but I was genuinely happy that he was trying to get along with Laurel. It was also fate that Cain's workplace was close to Laurel's part-time job. Sometimes I would think of her and wonder how she was doing. I had been worrying about her, and while I felt the wonder of fate that she was still alive and well, so close by, I shared the joy of reuniting with her. After spending our holidays with Laurel and my parents, Laurel started coming to visit us often. Sometimes I would invite her, and sometimes I'd get a call from Laurel saying, "Can I come over tonight?" My younger sister Laurel is very cute. She's 7 years younger than me. I never turned down a request from Laurel, and she never turned down an invitation from me unless she had something special planned. Amelia also accepted Laurel as her aunt, and Cain was so happy he'd say, "It's like having a real sister." I'm an only child, so I always wanted a sister like her. Our family became very close to Laurel, and we often took her on family trips. It was about 6 months into this life that Laurel started acting strange. Laurel suddenly stopped wanting to come over. She started ignoring my invitations. Laurel is reckless and short-tempered, so I thought something might be wrong. Worried, I decided to visit her part-time job during lunchtime after finishing work early on a weekday. It was my first time going to Laurel's workplace, but I remember the conversation I had with Kane and Laurel. I spotted a cream-colored sign just inside the alley at the intersection in front of the station. When I opened the door and stepped inside, I heard the sound of cowbells clanking. A clerk wearing a brown apron said, "Welcome." I responded with a quick hello, then looked around for Laurel. I couldn't find her right away in the small cafe. Eventually, I saw her. She looked well, but she wasn't wearing a brown apron, so I figured she was on break. She was sitting and talking to someone. I felt a bit guilty, but I peeked toward her table, trying not to be seen. And that's when I saw Kane. He must have known I was worried about Laurel. Yet, he had never once told me he was meeting her. I had told him, "I haven't been able to get in touch with Laurel lately. She's been a bit of a troublemaker, so I hope she's okay." Kane had said, "I'm sure it'll be fine." She said she became an adult, right? As I stared at them, it dawned on me they were holding hands across the table. Kane was smitten with Laurel. He was completely being led by the nose. I realized, without a doubt, they were in a relationship. I ran out of the cafe, flustered. A confused employee asked, "Are you all right?" I stammered, "Sorry, I've got to go," and left. After that, I must have gotten on a train and gone home, but I don't remember anything about that process. I didn't want Amelia to worry, so when she came home from her club activities, I tried to behave as usual. But I wasn't sure if I had done it properly. That night, when Amelia was asleep, I asked Kane, "Hey, today, I was worried about Laurel, so I went to the cafe where she works. I saw you and Laurel talking and holding hands. What kind of relationship do you have?" In response to my cautious question, Kane, who was sitting on the sofa playing with his smartphone, looked up and answered as if it was nothing. "Oh, I guess you found out. But it's okay, because I've been meaning to talk to you. I've been dating Laurel for quite a while. She's 3 months pregnant now. I'm thinking of divorcing you." "Okay. Okay. What do you mean, okay?" I was furious that Kane admitted his affair so casually, but he didn't seem to care about my anger. He pulled out a bag and began stuffing clothes into it. "Where are you going?" I yelled. Kane answered coldly, "Laurel's place. Even though my affair was discovered, there's no point in us being together. I feel better being with someone young and cute like Laurel, rather than being with an old woman like you. And I can focus better at work." That was it. Kane crossed in front of me, stunned and speechless, and walked out the front door. The moment it slammed shut, I burst into tears. "Oh my God, then what are you going to do with Amelia?" But my silent cries were only absorbed by the stillness of the night. The next day, I was on holiday, so I stayed home. I hadn't told Amelia yet that Kane had left. I just told her Kane had to leave early for work. In the house, where Amelia also went to school, I sat silently, wondering what to do next. Then the intercom rang. I looked outside on the intercom screen and saw Laurel standing there. There was no explosive anger like last night, just a quiet storm brewing beneath my skin. I opened the front door and greeted Laurel, my voice tight with restrained emotion. She slowly walked into the hallway, closed the door behind her, and then, with a sudden thud, threw her forehead to the ground, falling prostrate. "I'm having a baby with Kane. I'm going to be his wife." It was the first time I'd ever seen someone kneel like that in real life. As I stared down at her trembling figure, Laurel raised her head slightly, her eyes meeting mine, then stood and started talking again. "Well, I'm sorry, but Kane says he wants me, and I'm pregnant now. I want you to break up with Kane and leave with Amelia as soon as possible." "Okay. Really?" I said in a voice that surprised even me. Then, without another word, I led her into the house. This wasn't something to be discussed at the door. We sat down at the table in the living room, and I faced her directly. "I'll accept the divorce," I said, "but I can't keep Amelia." Laurel's expression twisted. "Ha! Amelia's getting in the way of me and Kane's new life. You understand, right? When the baby is born, Amelia's going to feel bad about it. It's natural for the mother to keep the child. Don't you even understand that? You are her mother, right? You don't know anything, I said coldly, stunned by her ignorance. Laurel narrowed her eyes. What? I told her the truth, the part she never knew. Amelia is my stepchild. She's Kane's daughter. I met her as one of my students in my piano class. That's where I met Kane. He was divorced, and I married him. Huh? What? I didn't know that. I couldn't help but laugh a little at how upset she looked. You're about to marry him, and you haven't even heard basic facts like that? Is your marriage really okay? Laurel's face turned bright red. She slammed her hands on the table and stood up. Don't worry. I'll talk to Kane and come back. Get ready for the divorce, she shouted. I nodded calmly. Yes. Then I kicked her out of my house. After she left, all I could think about was Amelia. Ever since the divorce came up, my mind had been circling back to her. She wasn't related to me by blood, and I worried, like Laurel said, that with a new baby in the picture, Amelia might feel like a burden. Still, she was my daughter in every way that counted. Weeks passed. Amelia started to get suspicious about Kane's absence. I lied and said he was on a long business trip. Then one day, Kane called. He and Laurel wanted to have a discussion. We decided to meet at our home. Just like before, we sat down at the table, 4 seats. Kane naturally sat next to Laurel, and for the first time, I truly felt like I had let go. It was over. Kane was the first to speak when the discussion began. As for Amelia, he said, I have no intention of taking her in. She's a hindrance to my new life, so you should take her. You're calling your own daughter a nuisance. Are you serious? Kane nodded solemnly. I'm sure. I'm serious. I want to start a new family with Laurel. I want to reset everything. You're close with Amelia, right? You should take responsibility and raise her. I let out a slow breath, disgusted at how easily he was trying to discard his daughter. I'd been thinking about Amelia constantly, unsure of what to do. But Kane's attitude made the decision for me. With steady resolve, I said, Okay. In return, please make sure to pay child support. Laurel, who had been sitting with a stone-cold expression, suddenly smiled. You did it, Kane. Now all the troublemakers are gone. From now on, it's just you and our baby. They shared their joy in front of me, openly, shamelessly. I stood up silently. Then I walked to the kitchen counter and handed them the brown envelope I'd left there earlier. Kane looked at it and frowned. What's this? Isn't this a little too thick for divorce papers? It's not divorce papers. Just open it, I said. Laurel looked at me like I was a fool. But I urged her again, and finally, she opened the brown envelope and took out the contents. Her face gradually turned pale as she flipped through the documents. What's written on this? She stammered. Kane leaned over to look, but Laurel quickly tried to hide the papers. Don't look at it. Kane must have sensed something was wrong. He grabbed the documents from Laurel and read them himself. His face stiffened, and he fell silent. What is this? It was the truth Laurel had been hiding all along. Inside the envelope was an investigation report from a detective agency. I had originally hired them to collect evidence of Laurel's affair and demand compensation, but what they uncovered was far more disturbing. Laurel was a spendthrift who had accumulated a massive amount of debt. Worse, to repay it, she had been working secretly as a stripper at night. And even more shocking, she had been having an affair with a regular customer she met at the club. Their relationship had gone on for years. The report included clear evidence, even photographs, proving it continued to this day. Kane's voice trembled. Does this mean you're dating someone else? Laurel's face twisted in rage. She let out a bitter laugh and snorted. That's right. An old man like you has no appeal except for your money. So what? It can't be helped. How dare you? Kane began to yell, but a voice suddenly boomed from my phone on the table. Stop it. Laurel froze. Who was that? Kane recognized the voice instantly. Mom. Yes. Without telling either of them, I had connected Kane's mother to the conversation via phone. She trusted me. Ever since learning about Kane's betrayal, she had supported me from behind the scenes. She was the one who had suggested attending the discussion remotely. Her voice, calm and sharp, cut through the silence. Stop fighting. This is pathetic. You've completely forgotten how much you owe Heather. You're a total idiot. Kane shrank back like a scolded child. She continued, sternly, "It's been reported that you've been skipping work to go to hotels with women. Your subordinates are complaining. Even though you're my son, I can't protect you anymore." "Mom, what does that mean?" Kane asked, his voice shaking. "It means you're fired." Kane stood up, shouting into the phone, "Mom, please. I'm sorry. I'll do better. Don't fire me." Laurel, still stunned, tried to speak. "Oh, that's right. I'm having a baby with him. You're Kane's mother, right? That means the baby is your grandchild." But Kane's mother answered without emotion. "No matter what you say, you're fired. Also, the house and land are in my name. I refuse to let either of you live there. Get out. Now." "Mom, please forgive me." "Please don't." It was awful, watching them lose everything so fast. Kane shouted desperately into my now disconnected phone. Laurel looked dazed. But I was done with the scene. "We're getting divorced. We're strangers now. Please leave, or I'll call the police." Kane and Laurel, shoulders slumped, finally left. That night, I told Amelia what had happened. She listened quietly, then said something that broke my heart. "I kind of knew Dad was having an affair with Laurel, but will you still be my mom? You won't abandon me, will you?" I hugged her tightly and answered, without hesitation, "Of course not. I'll always be your mom." After that, Kane and I divorced. Thanks to the kindness of my former mother-in-law, Amelia and I were allowed to stay in our house. Kane and Laurel later got into a fight after he lost both his job and his home, and it turned out that the child Laurel was pregnant with wasn't Kane's. Apparently, the real father was a wealthy patron she'd met at work, a man who already had a wife and children. His wife demanded a massive compensation settlement. Laurel's debts grew worse. She began living in fear of debt collectors. Laurel wasn't in any position to raise a child. Eventually, the baby she gave birth to was taken in by my parents in the countryside. They raised the child with love, despite the circumstances. On my next long vacation, I plan to visit with Amelia so we can see the baby. Even though the child was born under complicated circumstances, Amelia is excited to meet her half-sibling. "There are going to be some tough times ahead," I told her, "but with you by my side, we'll get through them." Even though Kane and I were just in the process of separating, I think, maybe I can be grateful to him. After all, he gave me the greatest gift of all, my daughter.